Question 1. Regulatory framework. Iowa-specific regulations. An Iowa insurance producer is found to have rebated premiums to incentivize potential clients to purchase policies. Which of the following statements about this practice is correct? A. Rebating is permissible if disclosed to the insurance company. B. Rebating is prohibited under Iowa law and constitutes an unfair trade practice. C. Rebating is allowed only for policies exceeding a specific value. D. Rebating is prohibited only when it exceeds a threshold percentage of the premium. Answer. B. Rebating is prohibited under Iowa law and constitutes an unfair trade practice. Explanation. Under Iowa's insurance regulations, rebating is classified as an unfair trade practice and is explicitly prohibited. The purpose of this rule is to maintain fair competition and protect consumers from unethical practices. Even if disclosed to the insurer or limited in value, rebating violates Iowa-specific laws. Unfair trade practices, including rebating, twisting, and misrepresentation, are penalized to ensure a level playing field among producers and safeguard consumer interests. Question 2. Scenario-based commercial property insurance. James owns a small manufacturing business insured under a commercial property policy (CPP) with the building and personal property coverage form. A fire destroys one of his warehouses, which contained leased equipment belonging to another company. The equipment was not explicitly listed in the policy declarations. How will the policy respond? A. The policy covers the leased equipment as it is, within James's warehouse. B. The policy does not cover the leased equipment unless it is explicitly insured under an endorsement. C. Coverage applies only if James proves insurable interest in the equipment. D. The policy covers the leased equipment under the automatic coverage for personal property of others. Answer. B. The policy does not cover the leased equipment unless it is explicitly insured under an endorsement. Explanation. A commercial property policy with a standard building and personal property coverage form typically excludes coverage for property owned by others unless it is specifically insured through an endorsement. To cover leased equipment, the policy must include personal property of others coverage. Insurable interest applies, but the equipment's omission from the policy declarations or endorsements means it will not be covered. This exclusion emphasizes the importance of accurately listing all property and exposures in the declarations. Question 3. Workers' compensation insurance. Which of the following statements about employer responsibilities under Iowa workers' compensation law is correct? A. Employers must provide benefits for workplace injuries regardless of fault. B. Workers' compensation is optional for small businesses with fewer than 10 employees in Iowa. C. Employers may deny workers' compensation claims if the employee was partially at fault for the injury. D. Workers' compensation benefits only apply to injuries caused by third-party negligence. Answer. A. Employers must provide benefits for workplace injuries regardless of fault. Explanation. Iowa workers' compensation laws operate on a no-fault system, meaning employers are required to provide benefits for workplace injuries regardless of whether the employer, employee, or a third party was at fault. This ensures that employees injured in the course of employment receive medical care, wage replacement, and rehabilitation benefits. The law mandates coverage for nearly all employers, with limited exceptions, to protect both employees and employers from lengthy liability disputes. Question 4. Commercial general liability CGL. A contractor is insured under a commercial general liability CGL policy. During construction, a poorly installed beam collapses, damaging the property. Which of the following is true regarding coverage under the CGL policy? A. The policy covers the cost of repairing the defective beam. B. The policy covers damages to the property caused by the defective beam but not the cost of repairing the beam itself. C. The policy denies all claims related to faulty workmanship. D. The policy covers both property damage and the cost of repairing the beam. Answer. B. The policy covers damages to the property caused by the defective beam but not the cost of repairing the beam itself. Explanation. The CGL policy excludes coverage for the insured's faulty workmanship, referred to as the due work exclusion, but it does cover consequential damages caused by the defective work. In this scenario, the damage to the property caused by the collapsing beam would be covered, but the cost of repairing or replacing the beam itself would not. Question 5. Inland marine insurance. A construction company has a builder's risk policy as part of its inland marine insurance. If a storm damages the project under construction, which of the following will most likely be covered? A. Damage to the project caused by flooding. B. Tools belonging to subcontractors stored at the site. C. Damage to the construction materials on site caused by lightning. D. Completed work that was already handed over to the client. Answer. C. Damage to the construction materials on site caused by lightning. Explanation. Builders' risk policies provide coverage for the property under construction and materials on site against perils such as fire and lightning. However, flooding is often excluded unless specifically endorsed. Tools owned by subcontractors are typically excluded unless scheduled and completed work handed over to the client is no longer covered by the policy. Question 6. Scenario-based crime insurance. Sarah manages a retail store insured under a commercial crime insurance policy. She discovers that an employee has been stealing cash over the past 6 months. The employee has left the company, and Sarah files a claim under her employee theft coverage. What should Sarah expect? A. The policy covers the entire loss as long as it is discovered during the policy period. B. The policy denies the claim because the employee no longer works for the company. C. The policy covers the loss only if Sarah proves the employee's intent to steal. D. The policy limits the coverage to losses discovered within a specific time frame after the policy expires. Answer. D. The policy limits the coverage to losses discovered within a specific time frame after the policy expires. Explanation. Crime insurance policies typically operate on a discovery basis, meaning losses must be discovered during the policy period or within a defined extended reporting period after the policy expires. Coverage for employee theft applies regardless of the employee's current status with the company, but the discovery period is a critical factor. Proof of intent is not required for coverage under most employee theft causes. Question 7. Commercial auto insurance. Which of the following scenarios would typically be covered under the Drive Other Car endorsement of a business auto coverage form? A. An employee driving their personal car for work purposes. B. An executive renting a car for personal use while on vacation. C. A customer test driving a car from a dealership. D. An employee driving a company car to deliver goods. Answer. B. An executive renting a car for personal use while on vacation. Explanation. The Drive Other Car endorsement extends coverage to individuals named in the endorsement for the use of non-owned autos, e.g. rental cars for personal use. Scenarios like employees driving personal vehicles for work or customers test driving cars would require different types of coverage, e.g. hired auto or garage coverage. Question 8. Workers' compensation insurance. Under Iowa workers' compensation law, which of the following injuries is most likely excluded from coverage? A. A worker who trips and falls at their workstation. B. A worker injured while voluntarily participating in an off-site company-sponsored recreational activity. C. A worker who develops carpal tunnel syndrome from repetitive tasks. D. A worker injured while traveling between job sites as part of their work duties. Answer. B. A worker injured while voluntarily participating in an off-site company-sponsored recreational activity. Explanation. Iowa workers' compensation law generally excludes injuries sustained during voluntary recreational activities, even if company-sponsored. However, injuries occurring during normal work duties, such as traveling between sites or repetitive strain injuries, are covered as they arise out of employment. Question 9. Professional liability insurance. Which of the following is a key characteristic of errors and omissions EO insurance? A. It covers claims based on fraudulent acts. B. It provides coverage on an occurrence basis only. C. It requires claims to be reported during the policy period for coverage to apply. D. It excludes coverage for financial damages resulting from professional negligence. Answer. C. It requires claims to be reported during the policy period for coverage to apply. Explanation. Most EO policies operate on a claims-made basis, meaning claims must be reported within the policy period or an extended reporting period to trigger coverage. Fraudulent acts are typically excluded, and professional negligence resulting in financial damages is the primary risk covered under EO policies. Question 10. Commercial property insurance. Which of the following would typically be covered under the extra expense coverage of a business income policy? A. Salaries paid to employees during a shutdown. B. Cost of repairing damaged equipment. C. Cost of renting temporary office space to continue operations. D. Loss of revenue due to a mandatory evacuation order. Answer. C. Cost of renting temporary office space to continue operations. Explanation. Extra expense coverage is designed to cover costs incurred to minimize business interruption, such as renting temporary office space or equipment to continue operations. Salaries and lost revenue are covered under business income, while equipment repair costs are covered under property damage coverage. Question 11. Homeowners insurance. A homeowner has a HO3 policy. Which of the following scenarios would most likely be excluded from coverage? A. Damage to the home caused by a falling tree during a storm. B. A theft of personal property from the homeowner's car parked on the street. C. Flood damage to the basement during a heavy storm. D. Liability for injuries sustained by a neighbor slipping on the homeowner's icy driveway. Answer: C. Flood damage to the basement during a heavy storm. Explanation: Standard homeowners insurance policies, including the HO3 form, exclude coverage for flood damage. Separate flood insurance is required to cover such losses. Other perils, such as falling trees, theft, and liability for injuries, are generally covered under the HO3 policy. Question 12. Commercial property insurance. Which of the following losses would likely be excluded under the commercial property cause of loss? Special form: A. Fire damage to inventory in a warehouse. B. Damage caused by employee theft. C. Vandalism causing damage to office equipment. D. Damage caused by water leaking from a sprinkler system. Answer: B. Damage caused by employee theft. Explanation: Employee theft is typically excluded from the commercial property cause of loss special form and would require separate crime insurance coverage. Fire, vandalism, and sprinkler leakage are standard covered perils. Question 13. Umbrella liability insurance. The company has an umbrella liability policy. Which of the following is the primary function of this type of policy? A. Cover losses excluded by the underlying policies. B. Provide coverage for professional negligence claims. C. Increase the policy limits of the underlying liability policies. D. Replace the need for commercial general liability coverage. Answer: C. Increase the policy limits of the underlying liability policies. Explanation: Umbrella liability insurance extends the coverage limits of underlying liability policies, such as general liability or auto liability, and can also provide excess coverage for specific claims. Question 14. Inland marine insurance. Which of the following best describes the type of property covered under inland marine insurance? A. Fixed property such as buildings and land. B. Movable property like equipment and tools in transit. C. Personal autos used for commuting. D. Employees' personal belongings at the workplace. Answer: B. Movable property like equipment and tools in transit. Explanation: Inland marine insurance covers property that is mobile or involved in transportation, such as construction equipment, tools, and other goods in transit. It does not cover fixed property, personal autos, or employees' belongings. Question 15. Workers' compensation insurance. Under Kansas workers' compensation law, which of the following is true regarding benefits? A. Coverage includes pain and suffering. B. Employers are required to provide coverage for all employees, including independent contractors. C. Medical expenses for workplace injuries are covered without deductibles. D. Workers must prove negligence on the part of the employer to receive benefits. Answer: C. Medical expenses for workplace injuries are covered without deductibles. Explanation: Workers' compensation covers medical expenses related to workplace injuries without requiring deductibles or proof of negligence. Benefits do not include compensation for pain and suffering, and independent contractors are typically not covered. Question 16. Business Owners Policy BOP. Which of the following businesses is most likely to qualify for a business owner's policy? BOP. A. A multinational corporation with several offices worldwide. B. A small retail store with annual revenue under $5 million. C. A trucking company with a large fleet of vehicles. D. A factory with significant manufacturing operations. Answer: B. A small retail store with annual revenue under $5 million. Explanation: a BOP is designed for small to medium-sized businesses with relatively low-risk profiles, such as retail stores, offices, and service providers. Large corporations, trucking companies, and factories typically require customized commercial policies. Question 17. Flood insurance. Under the National Flood Insurance Program (NFIP), which of the following is covered? A. Damage to landscaping, including trees and shrubs. B. Damage to a detached garage. C. Loss of income due to business interruption. D. Sewer backup unrelated to flooding. Answer: B. Damage to a detached garage. Explanation: the NFIP provides coverage for structures like detached garages, subject to certain limitations. Landscaping and business interruption losses are excluded, and sewer backups are covered only if caused by flooding. Question 18. Scenario-based commercial auto insurance. A delivery driver causes an accident while driving the company-owned van. Which of the following policies would primarily respond to the claim? A. The driver's personal auto policy. B. The company's commercial general liability policy. C. The company's commercial auto policy. D. The driver's health insurance policy. Answer: C. The company's commercial auto policy. Explanation: a company's commercial auto policy provides primary coverage for accidents involving company-owned vehicles while being used for business purposes. The driver's personal auto policy generally does not cover commercial vehicle use. Question 19. Professional liability insurance. Which of the following professionals would most likely require professional liability insurance, EO insurance? A. A general contractor. B. A financial advisor. C. A restaurant owner. D. A manufacturer. Answer: B. A financial advisor. Explanation: professional liability insurance protects professionals such as financial advisors, attorneys, and consultants against claims arising from errors or omissions or negligence in the services they provide. Contractors, restaurant owners, and manufacturers require different types of coverage. Question 20. Business income coverage. Which of the following expenses is typically covered under business income coverage? A. The cost of replacing damaged property. B. Payroll for employees during the business interruption period. C. Penalties for breaking a lease due to damage. D. Costs for upgrading building codes during repairs. Answer: B. Payroll for employees during the business interruption period. Explanation: business income coverage reimburses for lost income and ongoing expenses such as payroll during the restoration period following a covered loss. Other costs like property replacement or building code upgrades fall under different coverages. Question 21. Auto insurance. Which of the following is covered under Kansas's mandatory liability auto insurance? A. Damage to the policyholder's vehicle caused by a storm. B. Injuries sustained by the policyholder in a single car accident. C. Property damage and bodily injury caused by the policyholder to others. D. Replacement of stolen personal property from the vehicle. Answer: C. Property damage and bodily injury caused by the policyholder to others. Explanation: Kansas requires drivers to carry liability insurance to cover property damage and bodily injury to others in an accident caused by the insured. Other coverages, such as collision and comprehensive, must be added separately. Question 22. Personal umbrella policy. What is typically required before a personal umbrella policy will provide coverage? A. A declaration of insolvency by the insured. B. Exhaustion of the limits of the underlying liability policy. C. Payment of a specific deductible for each claim. D. A court ruling determining fault in the incident. Answer: B. Exhaustion of the limits of the underlying liability policy. Explanation: a personal umbrella policy provides additional coverage once the limits of the underlying liability policies, e.g., auto or homeowners insurance, have been exhausted. Question 23. Workers' compensation. If an employee in Kansas is injured on the job and the injury is due to their own negligence, which of the following is true? A. The employee is ineligible for workers' compensation benefits. B. Benefits are reduced by 50% for contributory negligence. C. Workers' compensation benefits are provided regardless of fault. D. The employee must prove negligence by the employer to receive benefits. Answer: C. Workers' compensation benefits are provided regardless of fault. Explanation: Kansas workers' compensation operates on a no-fault system, meaning benefits are provided regardless of who is at fault for the injury. Question 24. Workers' compensation insurance. A Kansas employer decides not to carry workers' compensation insurance for a certain group of employees. Which of the following is true regarding this decision? A. The employer can still avoid liability for workplace injuries through waivers signed by employees. B. The employer is in violation of Kansas state law and may face legal penalties for failing to carry workers' compensation insurance. C. The employer is not required to provide workers' compensation insurance for part-time employees. D. The employer can transfer liability to a third-party insurer for workplace injuries. Answer: B. The employer is in violation of Kansas state law and may face legal penalties for failing to carry workers' compensation insurance. Explanation: Kansas law mandates that most employers carry workers' compensation insurance to cover workplace injuries. Failure to comply can result in legal penalties, including fines and potential lawsuits from injured employees. Workers' compensation cannot typically be waived through contracts, and employers are responsible for providing coverage to both full-time and part-time employees in most cases. Question 25. Inland marine insurance. Which of the following scenarios is best covered by an inland marine policy? A. A fire damages the office building and its contents. B. A contractor's tools are stolen from a construction site. C. A flood damages a business's basement storage. D. A customer slips and falls in the business's parking lot. Answer. B. A contractor's tools are stolen from a construction site. Explanation. Inland marine insurance is designed to cover movable property and equipment, such as tools used on job sites. Fire, flood, and liability incidents fall under different types of insurance. Question 26. Professional liability insurance. A Kansas real estate agent provides inaccurate property details to a client, causing financial loss. Which type of insurance would cover this claim? A. General liability insurance. B. Professional liability (EO) insurance. C. Homeowners insurance. D. Umbrella insurance. Answer. B. Professional liability (EO) insurance. Explanation. Professional liability insurance as an omissions insurance protects professionals against claims arising from mistakes, negligence, or misinformation in their professional services. Question 27. Dwelling policy. Which of the following is a primary difference between a D1 and a D3 dwelling policy? A. D1 provides named peril coverage, while D3 provides open peril coverage for the dwelling. B. D1 includes liability coverage, while D3 does not. C. D3 covers flood damage, while D1 does not. D. D1 covers personal property, while D3 does not. Answer. A. D1 provides named peril coverage, while D3 provides open peril coverage for the dwelling. Explanation. D1 policies cover only specified perils, named peril, while D3 policies cover all perils except those specifically excluded, open peril for the dwelling. Question 20. Commercial general liability (CGL). Under a standard CGL policy, which of the following claims would typically be covered? A. Product recall expenses. B. Bodily injury to a customer caused by a slip and fall in a store. C. Environmental pollution from a manufacturing site. D. Loss of income due to business interruption. Answer. B. Bodily injury to a customer caused by a slip and fall in a store. Explanation. A CGL policy covers third-party bodily injury and property damage claims such as a customer slipping and falling. Product recall, pollution, and business interruption are excluded or require additional coverage. Question 29. Personal property coverage. Which of the following items is most likely subject to a special limit under standard homeowners policy? A. Clothing damaged in a fire. B. Jewelry stolen during a burglary. C. A television damaged by a power surge. D. Furniture destroyed by a flood. Answer. B. Jewelry stolen during a burglary. Explanation. Homeowners policies often have special sublimits for high-value items like jewelry in theft cases. Additional riders or endorsements are needed for full coverage. Question 30. Scenario-based loss-of-use coverage. After fire damages a rental property, the tenant must stay in a hotel while repairs are made. Which type of coverage under the landlord's insurance would help reimburse the loss of rental income? A. Building coverage. B. Personal liability coverage. C. Loss-of-use coverage. D. Medical payments coverage. Answer. C. Loss-of-use coverage. Explanation. Loss-of-use coverage helps reimburse the landlord for lost rental income when tenants are unable to occupy the property due to a covered peril such as a fire,